for your patience, everyone. Welcome to Triune on our launch event. I'm your host, I guess, Gabriel, and I'll talk a little bit more about Triune during our little fireside chat. So I'm going to hand over to Dash, who's going to be our provocateur, to ask what questions you have in your mind to the three of us.
I think, yeah, okay. Good morning, everyone. Great for you to be here. I know it's exciting to have a nice crowd to start with. My name is Dash. I'm the founder of Startup Malaysia, and what Startup Malaysia does is basically to help people launch meaningful companies. So we run programs, events, what have you, to help startups. And we've been around from 2011. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 26 years. I would like to pass the mic to Terry and Jason to give a short introduction of themselves, and then we'll get the conversation going. Let's keep the session as informal as possible, as interactive as possible, as friendly as possible. It's a new place. We want to warm this place up, get more people to come to interact, and I'll ask a lot of questions to Gabriel, and you two can jump up and ask as many questions as possible. Terry?
I'm Terry. I'm the CTO of HeadLab. HeadLab is part of a family of companies behind the Hub of All Things platform. The Hub of All Things platform is a micro server that allows you to store personal data. There is a I would had how about things technologically is a microserver. Microserver is a set of API or compute modules surrounding a database, and we give a microserver to every individual consumer, so that his data can be put inside uh, uh, that database, and the microservices will be able to compute on the data, will be able to control who gets access to the data. That is the technological view. But why do we want to do that? Now, I'm sure you all have Facebook or Google. What happens is you're actually paying for the services with your data. But whatever data that they are storing inside, you don't have a copy. In a way, the data belongs to Facebook. And they share it with, you don't know who they share it with, and you do not know what analytics they have run on you, and they do not know what they know about you, right? So the legally the head is also a place, because the database actually belongs to you. Okay, the data inside will also belongs to you. When it says this is what we call property rights. This means that this database, if you want to, you can totally destroy it. Okay, under UK law, we have to destroy it for you. Or if you want to, you can say totally, when you tell us to give us a copy, we are not actually copying the data for you. We can actually physically extract the database and say, okay, this is your database. It's actually a Postgres instance. Yeah, for those who understand tech, you can just load it up and you will be able to view your data. So
go ahead.
yeah, this design, when we started a project a couple of years ago, is a collaboration between a couple of universities in the UK. The collaboration is not just technical; it stems from economic considerations. We have a series of studies and papers. Hey, the next economy is going to be. I do not know whether you have heard of the Internet of Me instead of the Internet of Companies. So a company, the smallest company entity could be just the individual, the Internet of Me. We ourselves could be a single company. For us to do that, we must be able to be recognized as a single corporate right, and we must also be able to have technologies that enable us to functionally run as an individual. That is why we create a personal database on top of which we create a personal data server. There's the economic consideration. Especially now, there's a lot of data being leaked, data being weirdly used. Because the data is centralized, say even Visa, so long as you get entry to one, everybody's account is exposed. In our platform, our surface area of attack is very small. Even if you go in, you probably can only see one person, but the rest of the world is protected. There's no truly safe system with regards to database, but we can really reduce the surface area of attack. The last consideration, other than economics, is the legal rights, which I've shared just now. I shared just now with one of our participants that our medical records, at least in Singapore, belongs to the doctor and not to the patient. You have got no legal rights to your own medical records. So what we want to try to move from the legal point of view is to have a legal activism, at least beginning from the UK, to make corporates or government entities release a copy of the data to the consumer.
Gabriel has got something to add.
Yeah. Generally, when I talk to people in this part of the world about data, their eyes will just glaze over and then they think, and it's
Yeah.
too far away a problem for us to think about. But I'm going to just give it to you in 3 stages, my theory, like the Gabriel Ng theory of data evolution.
Sure.
The first stage is monetization. Data has already been monetized. If it's on the cover of The Economist, you know it's been monetized. Data is the new commodity, and basically they are making money from our preferences, what we say we like, what we say we don't like, or whatever, you know. So companies are making money, so that's monetization. That's fine. The next stage is weaponization, and you're already seeing that in Brexit. You see that in America. You see that people causing strife and dissension based on those things that you have expressed, like for and against. Cambridge Analytica is a great example. So data is being weaponized to create divisions between people. If this is what happens when you don't care about data, okay? And the last stage, of course, my pessimistic last stage is that it will basically be used to terrorize us. Your data will be monitored. Everything you do will be under a microscope. And there's already one country doing that. I won't say who. And so basically you have to just move around and be completely completely conscious that somebody who is not really on your side, possibly, is actually monitoring the data. And so the net result will be that you are terrorized. So data is something we really should wake up and shake ourselves and know that it's heading in this direction unless you do something to stop it.
So is it general? Okay, just to let us to make it clear to you, the founder is Irene.
One of the founders. Yes.
One of the founders is Irene Ng, who's Gabriel's sister, the CEO of HAT, and she's explained this HAT to me many times. And I always felt insecure when she explains to me because I felt my IQ is so low, I just don't understand. And I keep telling her, Irene, can you speak in English? I just don't understand. Can you tell me again and again? And she's explained to me 5 times, and I finally getting the scratch of it. And last night, I just tried reading it, and I just fell asleep. So I want you to humanize HAT for me. Is it just data or personal data? Who can humanize HAT here for me and for the audience? Because they are here to understand what HAT is, unless you guys understand it better than me. Because I am dumb.
I try first, or you try first?
Sorry, I'm going to make it difficult because I'm into trying to simplify things.
Yeah, I understand completely. I know exactly what you feel. I also felt completely dumb when I first got. But basically, if you think about everything that you do that is on a phone that can be monitored, what we are trying to create with the HAT is that you can take it back. You can't own it. Sorry, you can't own, as what Irene always says, you cannot own data. You know, I'm sitting here in a room, that's a piece of data, but you all know it. I can't own it, right? It just can't own it. So the only thing you can do is you can take it back and you can store it in a database. That database you can own. Right? That database you can own, and if anybody tries to steal it, then that's a crime. It's property rights.
So that's a microserver.
Yeah, so that's the microserver. That's the microserver. So the question then is what? So what? What for? Right? So the idea is if you own your data and if millions of people own their data, it actually makes the economy, makes services out there more efficient because you have the complete picture of you. Instead of this company having a half picture of you or 1/3 picture of you and Google having a 1/3 picture of you. So you're getting bombarded by things that are not really about you. So that's the idea. So the question is, how do we create the infrastructure?
And it's only when you have all your data in your one place, okay, then you can have a 360 view of you. Yeah. It's only when you have data in one place, then we can ask what for, right? So, and it's only right that this focus of data about that one person should belong to that person. It's only right that it should belong to you, and it's only right that, hey, you because it's a database entity, it has got rights, it's inheritable. You can always give to get, hey, this is everything about your father. Right? Everything's in there. I read a lot of sci-fi and futurist work. I know now we see a lot of YouTube channels where the influencers will do things with GoPro, and then you see them jump off the cliff. So that is only a segment of your life, but I think we are reaching a point whereby maybe in the next 10 years and in the next 15 years, whereby the first kid from the day of their birth is constantly, there will be video streams, somewhere, because there are more cameras coming up. There are more people with recording facilities, and then the phones could last maybe a week without charging. So imagine the data is going to get accumulated more and more, and it only makes more sense that, hey, where should this data go in the first place? So we have to start somewhere. That's where the hat came about. So we can all, with the hat, at least we can ask the question where the data should go and who should own the data and what can we do about it.
Something I like to weigh in. From my point of view, the most obvious way I can see hat works for me is in internet banking. Like right now, I have Maybank to you, right? So you go on to Maybank to you, I can see my account is this much. Then I go to CIMB. Then CIMB will tell me I got this much. But if I say I have 10 accounts in 10 banks, how much do I really have? Do I need to log into every bank and write down into the Excel file? Okay, I got 10,000 across 10 banks, right? Yep. So what hat can do is that, because a copy of my data is kept in one place, so it will take all the data from all the 10 banks to my one place. Then I can see, I got 10,000.
So you can't say you don't know how the money got into your bank account.
Exactly, yeah. And this way, that if they say that, no, I don't want to, they don't want to work with another business, but because hat is a consumer app. They say, you want your bank statement? Okay, I'll give it to you. But you want an API way? Okay, I'll give it to you in an API way. And this way I can have everything I have in one place. The one very easy way of how I see it.
Yeah, and if you think about banks, think about doctors. I'm sure you guys don't see one doctor your whole life, or specialist. Imagine if all that was pulled, all your health info was pulled into one. You could find correlations between so many things that specialists can't see by themselves.
So all you now need is just a hat. You don't need so many passwords. You don't need so many usernames. You just need the hat identity. Mm-hmm. Is that what it means?
Yes. I can also share with you one of the reasons why I'm moving to the UK is also to do a PhD. And one of the things that project that I'm considering is personal DNA analytics. So in the medical world, like today, if touch wood you get cancer, what the doctors will do is they give you doses of drugs to try and see whether it works.
Yeah.
Right. The next stage is actually, however, cancer treatment is it may morphologically look the same, but genetically, there are two things, it may be different. If I could look at your genetics, I could say that, A, you actually have a higher tolerance for this drug. Or the cancer you have has got a lower tolerance of another drug. So if you can have cross-analysis of all this drug interaction personalized to you, you have a higher chance of getting cured.
Okay.
So DNA to me is personal data, and by right, I should have a copy.
Fantastic. So what you are saying is the problem statement is the internet is broken. All the information is with FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and so you're just taking it all back and you want to fix it. So how can people here benefit from HAT? And how can a small company based in Cambridge or based here going to change this? Because don't you think that these big players are going to block it? Because they are capitalizing on your data. The global economy is basically dependent on them monetizing your information and targeting or selling you to advertisers who are in turn targeting you. You know, I was reading a book. They say if you just put 7 entries on your Facebook, only 7 entries, they can actually compartmentalize you into what you want and what your interests are, because the algorithm is so smart. You know that it can actually extrapolate all your interests. They can build your entire persona on cyberspace. You know, and how are you going to revolutionize this, changing this? Because this could actually be a game changer.
The enterprise or the corporates out there will keep doing what they're doing because that's how billionaires are made. However, at the end of the day, is for the little guys.
Come to the front.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please come to the front.
Lots of space in front.
Yeah, we are feeling quite lonely here.
Yeah.
Go for it, Terry.
At the end of the day, is at least we want to begin to level the playing field and say, hey, I want a copy. I want to be able to have the same kind of compute analytics to run that smart algo that Facebook had.
Yeah.
Their scientists will be able to write that, and our platform will allow the scientists to write what we call a smart head engine module to compute such data from head data. So firstly, for us to even begin to take the first step, we must have something to level the playing field with. So that the first tool we have is the head. And by progression, if we could do that, power of 1, we multiply the numbers.
Come to the front, guys.
Plenty of seats here.
Yeah, come.
Yeah.
Then you mentioned that all our personal data is indeed fragmented across all the corporates out there. So I'm the only person with a 360 view of me, with all my data in one place. Then I will know that, hey, my peers will have the same database. Then collectively, we could become a platform that says, hey, we have enough numbers for corporates to think about how they want to interact with a group. That is why Head is also a social media.
Cool. I'm sure you got, sorry?
Yeah, just a quick one.
Yeah, go. It's your floor.
If I'm not mistaken, as of May 2018, I think that is the law in the European Union already, which is that big tech or any company has to share the data back to the user or customer or whatever if the company is already holding it. So that is a big step to leveling the playing field for people, guys like us.
The law that you mentioned is the GDPR.
GDPR, yeah. General Data Protection. So do pressure your own lawmakers to follow that, because that helps keeping the people.
Our personal experience is, even if there's a law that says that corporate must share, but it does not specify how corporates should share. There is no service level agreement that say, hey, where within 60 days you must release all the data. It's not specified that you must release all the data in sensible format. For example, instead of saying first name, last name, I could just say 1, 2, then first name, last name. The law wasn't, even in the UK, wasn't comprehensive enough to
so
do
you have
that.
to sue.
But we take what we can.
Yeah.
Adding on to that, like in Malaysia itself, Malaysia's law usually follows closely Australian law and UK law. So like right now, the hack you can see that is very much applicable in Europe and UK because there's GDPR. But it's just only a matter of time our Malaysian lawmakers will be like, okay, let's copy that law from UK.
Come to the front, please.
And we will start to see GDPR to be applied here on a local basis. Like some startups here already have customers in EU, and you guys are now going through to make sure that your processes are in accordance to GDPR. So what the hack does is that it helps you along that process in a more, not just in a paper level, but in the execution level also.
Great. So can we, I'm sure there are a lot of questions on the hat and also on the space, but just before that, let's get to the fun.
Okay.
And for those of you who are at the back, if you don't mind, just take a photo of us so that I can use it on my social media afterwards. Anyway, go for it.
So I'll be talking about the Altima Fund. So just now we talk about the hat, it's necessary for you guys to know what is the hat first. So how the hat works is that every one of us will have our own microserver. And when businesses interact with the hat server, there must be some sort of agreement, an API agreement, right? So that means businesses that wants to interact with hat users has to follow a certain code. And to follow this code means that they have to design their technology to meet that code. So for that, that's why the Altima Fund comes up. So especially for new startups, when you want to design your app, for example, you can start from the beginning to cater to hat users. In a way, what's your benefit in this? Let's say that there are 10,000 hat users, and when you create your app onto the hat infrastructure, immediately all these 10,000 people could be your potential customers. Imagine how much time you save in terms of marketing to reach out to people to talk about you. They will just appear when I open up my hat app. Hey, there's a new hat app in town. What's this about? 10,000 people will look at it first, and they decide, oh, maybe I want or I do not want. So in this way, it's a very good way for new startups to build your business, and immediately you can grow much more faster than a typical route. So this is what Altima Fund is. Altima Fund is right now there's 1 million in it. We will launch next year. Now we just
1 million what? Sterling
1 million.
Oh, ringgit?
Ringgit.
Oh, ringgit, yeah. Not pounds.
Okay. It's a 1 million ringgit next year. We are still working out the details, but we'll mention it so you can prepare for it. So you have about 3 months to learn more about the hack and consider how you want to build on top of it. So in the 1 million, what you will get is that it's a fund not you get 1 million So you will get services from us. You get to work in this co-working space. You have funding in terms of it's a 3 months program. So in the 3 months program, we will work together with you to build that app onto the hack infrastructure. So that's in a nutshell what Altima Fund is. Inside Altima Fund, we're not going to be like some of the passive investors out there, here you go 50,000, just do whatever you want with it. No, we actually work together with you side by side, weekly meetings, daily help in all that whole 3 months to help you grow your business. And because your business does well, the head does well also. That's why we both have a mutual direction in that. That's why we'll work closely with you in terms of support. And that's in a nutshell what Altima Fund is.
So it's $1 million allocated for services, basically.
It's a combination of services and grants.
So how do you sell? So you also give grant, cash.
Yes.
So if you select, so you will make a selection of the startup that you want to give a grant and support to.
Yes. The point is, within these 3 months, we also don't want the developer to have a second job.
Sure.
So there is actually a cash component. In a way, you can treat it as your salary for the 3 months. You have a financial advice from Jason to how to start up the company, how to go for your next round of funding. So this is financial service. You also have technical support from my team. At least in the initial stage, how from your technical idea, how do we, frame it in such a way that is in a way how to do it the head way. Because now, let's say if you want to build a new application, the basic thing that you need to do, you have to do all your sign up, your UI framework, and that will actually cost you money for very little business gains. So imagine for your first 3 months, you can already have an application framework, user framework, and a data framework for you to build your application, you can focus on your business idea for the 3 months to roll out your MVP very quickly. So that's what we are trying to achieve on the tech side and the fund side. Yeah, basically that's it.
Can I ask probe a bit more? Let's say you take a particular company, and how do you decide how much of the fund are you going to allocate, and how much of it is going to be cash, how much of it is going to be services, and for the 3 months? So could it be? Do you have a fixed amount, say 100,000 ringgit per startup, or do you have you vary the amount, or how do you do it? And I know one of the ways that they can get it is by making their tech startup HAT compliant, right?
Yeah, let me add on to in terms of the 1 million fund.
Yeah.
It's only for 10 startups, so it's fixed nicely.
Okay, so for 100,000 each.
Yeah.
So 100,000 ringgit for 3 months,
Yeah.
where you would give a grant as well as you give financial advice, mentorship, build the UI UX, build their app for them, and all that kind of
And
stuff.
working space here.
So do you take equity for the 100,000?
At that part, we're still discussing.
Discussing it, okay.
Yeah. So we'll just drop us a name card over there, and we'll send you more info as we
Or
firm up all the
just
details.
grab us later and just
Okay.
call
So
us.
it's actually a HAT accelerator.
Correct. So this is
Okay.
an incubation program.
Yeah.
As far as I understand, in UK, we also have an accelerator program.
Yes.
also.
For next stage.
Okay. All right, get it. So that's amazing. So
Sure.
so you have a co-working space, you have a resource center, you also have.
Yeah, I'll just recap that for the latecomers. Thanks for coming. Thank you for coming to Triune. We are three spaces in one: a co-working space, events and conference and training venue, which you're in right now, and also the third one is a resource center for startups and enterprises, such as books, media, online videos. Yeah, so you can. We will stock up this library here for you to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair to the rest, I mean, those who came earlier, they all had a 15 to 30-second introduction of themselves. We would like you who just came to have an introduction of yourself. But is this a good time, or shall we ask more questions first?
Oh no, I'm done. No, I've said my piece.
Shall we just take a 2-minute break and get the new guys to introduce themselves? Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah. So
Shall
if
we
you
start
have not
with you?
introduced yourself,
You don't have to stand up. You just have to tell us your
Yeah,
name.
sure.
Just shout across.
I am Jesse, and been in Malaysia over a decade, mostly in the education business, and kind of transitioning. We used to live in Penang for about 10 years, kind of company up there, and transitioned down here to KL, basically helping entrepreneurs through a MIT process, MIT discipline entrepreneurship course, among other courses that we do through an institute we started called Entrust Institute. So just here to learn and collaborate as well. So.
Okay, so I teach the MIT Discipline Entrepreneurship program
Nice.
as well.
Okay.
Nice.
My name is Christian Pante. I'm from Perth, West Australia. I'm currently in the motorsport line, like I got a race car.
Wow.
I recently graduated with my bachelor's in engineering. I'm still looking at where I want to be in life.
Nice. I used to live in Perth for 8 years.
I'm Gordon. I have a company in Hong Kong doing AI, more focusing on real estate. So shifting to Shanghai soon.
Okay,
Nice.
yourself.
Hi, I'm Kelvin. I'm actually a student. I'm actually doing an intern at InterStars on
For the good
events and
good.
stuff.
community. Yeah.
You'll be interested to know HAT has got a new tag this year, what we call a think box. One of the things that we put inside the think box is vehicle data. So if the vehicle data is because people drive the car in a different way, especially when you share a family car. So the data from the car, we already have a collaborator that they're putting a variant of the HAT inside the car, whereby the data will your driving behavior, your car analytics will be streamed back to your own HAT. So we have technologies like that are in development. So we have done in the HAT, we are going for ebook reader. The ebook reader project is because now when kids read, you need to know how fast they are reading, what words they have difficulty with, and you can adjust the learning process. And all this is all HEC compliant applications that we build, or a UK startup companies like yourself are building. So these are just to throw out some of the ideas you can think about. So it could be software and hardware related combination, if you want to think of. Just to add on, why we had for the Altima fund, why we had a 100K slices. We think that is a good number, because if for the MEP, if you want to say that you take 6 months to a year, or you need $500,000 to do it, what I can tell you as a startup business, you're either too slow or too expensive. You need to rethink the model to entice, to cut down your risk to the 3 months, so that you know if that's the idea that works, then we go for the second month.
So in 3 months, you got to move from customer discovery to customer validation, and maybe even get your MVP out.
The idea is end of 3 months, you release the software MVP for testing.
For testing.
We will be able to publish your application on a head store, so that we can push a new application on the head store. Please try.
Fantastic. Anyone else haven't introduced themselves very quickly in yourself?
Yeah.
My name is Lo. I'm thinking of starting a new startup.
Okay. Fantastic. So you must have had many startups before.
No, in fact not.
Okay, good, awesome. You're in the right place.
Hey, my name is Mo, and I'm a founder of TechFit, a smart parking system that utilizes LPR, license plate recognition, to work with and close the
Okay.
All right. Did we miss anybody?
Yeah.
Hi, morning. My name is Asfa. You can call me Ed. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run my own digital marketing agency for the last 8 years. I also have a few startups. Currently launching a new platform called iDigital. So this is why I'm here. Yeah.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Anthony.
Yes.
I'm running a startup.
Okay. Anyone else? Everyone introduced?
Anybody?
So shall we open the floor to Q&A,
Questions,
and then we can have more interactions? Just feel free to ask as many questions as possible. Go for it.
Would have be similar to what Inrock is doing and Solid? Have you heard of certain?
Yes, we talk very closely with Solid, MIT. Irene and Tim Berners-Lee are very close to
Yeah, because it does seem quite similar, right? When you're creating a...
Okay, I'll explain. Solid is social link data. What they do have a database. However, the difference between Solid and Head is in the Head you can, although your data, you can actually stratify your data and say, okay, I will only give you this part of my data. Whereas the Solid platform, will build what we call link data about you. You can say that, hey, you are my Twitter address is this, my Facebook address is this. These are all my pictures in Instagram. You are building your links. Now, they do have an access control. However, it's all or none. Means that when you access the Solid platform, I say I want data about Harry, you get all data about me. Firstly, as an application, you may not need all my data, right? And you need to be very familiar with link data concept, what we call a triple store. A triple store is a way of thinking and storing up data. Is, let's say now I say my name is Terry. A triple store will store the data in person A has name Terry. Person A has last name Lee. So this is the triplets format that that you're storing. Solid is storing the data in. You need to know a language called Sparkle to correlate efficiently. So instead of running
maturity, cat would be more mature than
more what?
maturity level because all you guys are competing
We
with
are
each other.
we are in a way competing and complementary. We are our focus is on two different data. Solid is purely on socially linked data, open APIs. They also run analytics on the open API, but we can deal with properties. It's not that Head is more mature than Solid is that we are running on two parallel tracks. Solid has been in development for quite a number of years, so has Head, but we have gone two separate, two parallel tracks. But that's not to say that we cannot integrate. Solid has got this, what we call persona or web ID. Head has got a current development whereby it will also have its own web ID. Web ID is a W3C standard. So you can actually, in February, you can actually use your Head address and say, Solid, this is my web ID, and Solid will take the Head address and run with it. So there is some complementary and there is some technical parallel implementation.
Would you say we have the same goal but different?
We have the same goal. We have the same goal in
the way I see it, you guys are
decentralized
creating the new internet, right?
New
That's
internet.
Thank
the
you.
role of
Yes.
the media.
It's
Right.
all the internet of me.
Yes.
The internet of me. That's why I'm looking at it. Okay, because these are two totally platform or whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
So
can link in a Solid address and vice versa.
you can should just merge.
Then cash out.
Just give Google, Facebook, everyone for their money. That's just my idea.
Great input, great input. Anyone else?
Great question.
So when you say legally, I saw in the PDF that you provide in the site, in the website. What is it that you've done to make the data inside legally?
Because when you sign up on a Head, our agreement, our end user agreement, we tell you that the database legally belongs to you. That is in our legal agreement. And it's not mixed up with any data. Your database will not contain, it's in a true silo on its own. It does not contain any other person's data. So it's, we can physically extract it and give it to you as a legal, yeah, sorry. Legal right, when we say legal rights, is an agreement between two parties. Right? It is not enforced, it's either enforced by law or it's a legal agreement between two parties, and we give it to you.
So in this case, the Head will be kind of the data broker between all the things, right?
You are the data controller.
Using the hub platform.
Yes.
So I can say that the Head is the data broker.
Yes.
Yes.
You are the controller. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, and then the data comes to Head either with two methods, either with the data flux or by getting the first class Head apps.
Yes. First class Head apps. Okay, the data flux, for example, is Facebook, or we have a new social media website there. We have a data flux to pull data into the platform. On a side note, although we have a Facebook data flux, that does not stop another expert from writing a better Facebook. Okay. Data plug is the primary way of putting input data into the system because most data out there are actually residing in corporate or in the internet world. First party data will come in when companies like a medical house or the car company that we have directly writes data into the system. So to close out, if you are writing an application that generates very interesting data, you can choose to be a first party provider and write it straight.
So how is it different between the data flux and the apps?
Okay. Data plug is, I can write a data plug. The source data does not belong to me. It's an open API. Okay. The application and head app is, the data is mine, the application is mine, I must also write it straight. It doesn't make sense to write a data plug for it.
So data plug is something like an import.
Intermediate.
Yeah, I understand the data plug, where the data plug size is there. So to support those that doesn't have the head apps, like GitHub is already there, and then Facebook is already there, right?
Yeah.
So the data plug just pulling the data.
Yeah.
But then why is it still necessary to have the head apps?
The head app is for you to
Not the head apps as in the Android, no. Because I saw in the presentation there's also head apps.
Okay. Head apps is for you to use the data.
There's a need not met by Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So-
how you use the data is.
If you have a different use case from
You have a
Facebook.
use case for it. Yeah.
So let's say I want to build application A.
Yeah.
That in which I want to utilize data from head users. That application A is actually head apps.
Your own, but it's a
And it's
alpha
really
app.
you are, let's say you want to plot, let's say for example you want to compare data visually. You want to write an Android app that compares data between your Facebook events and your Google Calendar events and a few calendars. So that will become your app.
So if I understand correctly, that means that the data flux is the where head fetch the data from all these data providers.
Yes.
Whereby the head apps is actually the app that utilize this data.
Yes.
Right. So then,
of course, the app itself can also, after you utilize data, if there's any analysis, it can also write it back.
yes. Okay. So just a little bit of technical things here, because I guess the way you connect all these things is using the OAuth, right? Most of for the data flux.
Depending, because the OAuth implementation is on the data flux, not on the.
Sorry, can you repeat?
The OAuth mechanism has got to be done in the data flux. Yeah.
And in
most.
Okay. When I create the head apps in the OAuth realm, meaning that the head server will be the provider.
Yes. Means that if you sign on and authenticate, is an OAuth mechanism.
So technically, in this way, meaning that head will eventually have more data of individual compared to Google, Facebook, and all the apps combined.
Yes, 360 view. Yeah.
Yes. So what did you like? How do you make us trust you more than we trust Google and Facebook, since you have more data than me?
No, because
It's not our head. It's your head.
I've got no access to your
Yeah,
data.
we have no access.
It's your own server.
It's your own server. Without hacking the system, I don't even know your database password.
But yeah, but when you mean it's our own server, but where is it hosted?
AWS.
I mean, it is hosted by the head platform, right?
Yes.
So
I think one way to understand that head manages the infrastructure.
Yes.
When you sign on, we create a server for you, and that belongs to you. We have no access into the server.
So can I say it's like a bank, they keep your money, but they don't have access to your money.
Yeah.
So we are.
No, you
The bank has
No, the
access.
bank has
Okay, they have access to your money. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, how are we sure that you will not like Facebook try to ensure us to trust our data with them, but then eventually we know what happens to that.
Yes.
So And then how should we trust not when another platform emerges, and then it tries to aggregate all the data from other platforms? How should we?
Fantastic question.
We are legally bound. If you not trust us and you ask us to destroy your data, we are legally bound to destroy your data.
So there is a legal wall.
We have no access to your data unless typical property rights, the government shows up and says, I want access.
Even if
difficultly
find it.
Yeah, honestly, we will say, I don't have the password. We can't give it.
Yeah, unlike Facebook is that the data, I control the database. But in terms of hack, we don't control the database.
Yeah, we would rather.
We only create the server for you.
I think this is not the first time this question arises. But at the end of the day, if there's no trust between both of us, you just tell us, okay, there's no more relationship.
So I think the success and the scalability of HAT is dependent on that crucial question of trust. And I think we need to articulate that in a more convincing way.
Because ultimately is we can always this question will always loop.
Yes.
So if at the end of the day, if there's no trust,
Okay, my question is more like not that we trust you, no. It's more like to what certain level of trust we can use this platform, right? So because this is kind of important and
who is we?
No, I mean me.
Oh.
Individual.
Okay.
So to what level of trust that we can use this platform for, right? So I think that is why I asked that question.
Yeah.
So
I think also as a user of any internet software out there is also how the company interacts. If, for example, Facebook has not leaked data or has not done the things that it has done, we would have trusted it still. Trust is constant action.
Is the user able to take it from the head on the cloud into his own hard drive and need all the data?
It's technically possible.
Okay.
Yes. You can even, it's technically possible for someone to take the head and run it on himself.
Because I trust Dropbox until they get acquired.
Yeah.
I think we got.
Your latest sister's
We've got about 15 more minutes, but thank you very much
Thank you
for
very
those
much for the
questions.
Thank you.
But I think you can see Terry around the corridor. You can ask him,
Yeah, sure.
drill him more.
I
think that
also
was-
want to address an offshore from the question
Sure.
of trust. As a software developer, why do you want to get on this platform? What if password head is no longer around tomorrow?
Yes.
This we have also discussed it. If we are no longer around tomorrow, we don't want to exist as a commercial entity. All this software will be released to the public so that you can take it off and
Open.
yeah. So there's no loss
There
of
was a
data.
question from you. Question?
Is there any questions
Yeah.
from this side?
Yeah, just want to ask, because we have built our app, is there any blockchain that you have, like authorizations, party that can just extract the data?
Not without approval. Only the head,
Who will give authorization?
the end user, not us. The end user will give authority to actually. Yeah.
But for us as a builder, look at app, we can authorize them to extract the data, right?
Yes. So as a builder, when you build the app, there are two ways to do this. Either you, your app, when they log into head, you ask for permission to write data into the head. Alternatively, is you build because you already have data, it might be easier for you to build a separate data platform. With a data exporter.
Okay.
Yes.
No idea.
When is what?
No, how many Malaysians do you have? I've got no idea.
We're not supposed to know. Globally, how many heads?
Globally, at the moment we have active users 1,005. Okay, I shared with we are going 10 million next year.
Yeah, maybe you can explain how that's gonna happen.
Because one of the companies is coming on board with migrating their 10 million users to us
It's a-
on platform.
It's a financial institution.
It's a financial institution. It's a financial institution. We are in the process of being certified as being able to put financial data on hand. There are certain aspects that we must qualify in terms of security, access control, backup. There's a process that UK regulators require us to do.
That's a great customer validation.
Great customer validation.
So how do you monetize? How do you make money?
We make money by a few things. When the application access our data, you need to pay for it. It's an API call. So what happens is that
Yeah, I think it. So what happens that let's say I am enterprise ABC and I want to get the data from person ABC, right? The person ABC must say, okay, I allow you to. Once that is done, then an API call will be done, I think, one time, right? So if for every 1,000 times, or I don't know, the numbers will be tweaked, then the enterprise is the one that pays for it.
yes.
So the burden of paying the storage of those data is taken by the enterprise.
Yes.
So every time I allow an enterprise to actually use my data, it's actually costing the money. Is it?
It will cost the enterprise money.
Yeah, I mean, it costs the money. Yes.
Yes.
But to store the data, we don't.
You don't have to. Means that the enterprise is paying for your ad.
I see.
Does the person get a share of the
Depending if we're still working out if there's a large pool of money, it will flow back to the end user, especially if the end user takes part in what we call data exchange. The data exchange is specifically when there is a researcher or organization is saying, hey, I want 2,000 sets of 50 data, and I'm paying $2,000 for it. So the first 2,000 who says, hey, I allow you to get my 50 data, get $1. So that is the pure data exchange part. Most of the time is what you're paying for is free service. So we are, in a way, we hope that enterprise who can come on board us, if they are coming for the data, they will be able to provide as low as cost as possible in the application stage.
Still in the.
So go for it. Just finish it and then we can pass.
Still in the context of the enterprise that we use as an example, if the particular enterprise use an app to access the data, would that app be called a head app?
No, it's
Your app.
No, I mean,
head
head
app.
as a head app because it use data from it.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then after they have access to your data, is there an expiration on how long the enterprise has access to your
Yes.
data and then what they do with that?
Yes. The access to the data, what we call is a data debit. The data debit has an expiry date.
Okay.
You can have immediate revocation. You can revoke it immediately.
Or it could be a month or something, or a year.
Or rolling. Yeah, things like that. So when you ask data from me, you say, I want a Facebook, I want a Facebook post for the next 3 months. That's it.
So after that, if something pop up, if the company continues to want to have that access.
There's no pop-up. it will just expire. If you want, you'll get more.
Right.
Most of the time, logically, it will be a request for the duration of the application. Because in a way, from the application design, why it makes no sense to say that, hey, I've got this application, I only want 3 months of data. It should be the duration of the application. Say, so long as you uninstall the application, the data should be blocked.
I think we've got time for 2 or 3 more questions.
So how do the 10 startups looks like the application process?
We will share more information about that. There will be a website for people to apply. Then you will know more of the criteria. When we will start, we intend for the program to start about March or April next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So from now until March is actually the filtering process, selection, or
Well, the application haven't started yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
for now, it's just basically for people to
so the
know more
website
about the
is
help.
gonna be launched soon, or maybe you don't have the URL yet.
We do have a URL. It's just that we need to populate. We need to decide among ourselves what kind of support and what other support that we can get, because we're still talking with several other people to make that fund even more beneficial for you. So once we decided that in these few months, then we will launch it out. So just put your name card there. Once it's out, we will just send an email to you.
Or like our Facebook page. We will put it on the
So
Triune.
if there are other angel investors who want to come in and partner with you to put in more money, do you
Yes, then
allow
we can have more startups.
more
Yeah.
startups?
Yeah.
Okay.
Relating to the previous example for the enterprise.
It's relentless, which is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's good, man.
So this is what we call the early adopter.
So the enterprise was using the data and then fetching doing the API call to the head server, the head platform, and then they will eventually pay for the data. So if we compare it to Facebook, as in the Facebook got an issue because they kind of selling our data without our consent, right? Can we in a way compare as in selling our data with our consent?
The data is when your data is taken out from the head, it's always with your consent.
Yes.
It's
always with your
consent, and you can revoke it. But with Facebook, you cannot revoke your consent.
But what I mean here is like it is actually the business model here is actually you sell the data but with our consent. Is that correct?
I'm not.
No, we
selling.
manage the infrastructure.
It's like a toll.
Yeah.
We don't have your data at any way.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, the data you don't have our data, but our data is with you, right?
Okay.
I'm not selling your data.
No,
No. I'm not literally like selling your data, but the mechanism of the way enterprise fetch the data and then they pay the data.
Technically, yes. The implementation is
it's more like a middleman.
More like a toll.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like this guy wants, okay.
Plus
Then I
high
ask you, do you want to give him? No, okay.
And then the enterprise will pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, go for it.
So we will have like a micro server within your server, right? To put our data in there, right? And then these data provides access to it, they will add to it. Are we considered as a third party enterprise and you charge us for that? Or?
When you add more to it, it's not charged. In fact, we will give you money to add to it. So let's say if you write a data path, you get royalties.
And once we want to like call these data or we want to pull data, we're considered as the
Then you pay for the API to read the data.
I'm just going to a question to everyone. If you guys have Google and Facebook, you really think you have data privacy nowadays? Let's be honest. Once you have a digital footprint, do we actually have our own privacy anymore? Right? Because you are also pulling data from Facebook and Google later. That's data platform Facebook. But let's be honest, if you already have a digital footprint, you're already giving out your data to them. So you cannot even do anything with it anymore.
Sure.
I mean, just asking you guys as well. I mean, I know you guys are doing things like this trying to change but you're still relying on data from Facebook, from Google, things like that. So this is my question to everyone. Do you really think that with all your digital assets already in the cloud or whatever, do you really think that you have privacy anymore nowadays?
At this point, you don't. But if you start using the hack from today onwards, and you focusedly just only use the hack, then from today onwards, all your data is private. But before that, it's everywhere out there lah.
I know, but I mean, it's a noble idea, but
I think we're fine as long as there's two or three. If one company completely absorbs 360 your whole life, I think we are out of business, because that's what we are trying to be. If as long as your data is split into multiple big companies, small players like us have a chance.
So you're just trying to fragment the concentration of data.
They're fragmenting themselves anyway.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea as blockchain, right? We're trying to decentralize it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of centralizing it. So yeah, I mean, this mobile idea is something that we should all have a bit more ownership of our own data.
Yeah, I said just now, if you can have your own data consolidated in one place, then the conversation about what we can do with it gets more meaningful.
Like someone says, it's like urinating inside the swimming pool. You can't remove it anymore after that. It's all part and parcel of the whole sea.
Okay, lunchtime.
One more question, and then we're done for lunch. Wait, can you just hang on? We'll just ask if anybody else has a question. Anyone else?
Okay, so I guess it's you.
Yes, I guess it's you.
Yes.
So I guess you will, for the hat, you will provide kind of self-hosted mode, maybe, is that? So in a way, like I will run up my own container and then connect it to hat, so that let's say I'm in a private company, I don't want to host all my officers' company in hat, so I just create the hat compatible containers and then.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand this. You can either, if you are top blockchain, you can use a public chain or you can use on-private chain. We have a provisioning system called Milena, where you can.
What Milena?
Milena, we can let you host the provisioning layer itself. Means that you form your own head cluster on premise. And even if you form your head cluster, you just have your own address. Because now, say for example, my head is at terry.hubhead.net. You can be a provider with your own address, but the data is still complementary. So what we are expecting is, with my head now, I download your app. I do not need to sign up a head on you. I can still log in.
So in that case, I will still be able to connect to the app using the app that you guys.
Correct, but you can have your own domain, own cluster.
All right. So we now adjourn for. Thank you very much, Gabriel, Terry, and Jason.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Stay on. Have lunch. This is lunch.
Yes.
And thank you for your questions. Thank you to those of you who asked questions as well for the introductions. Stay on for the next session after this. I think there's a whole series of talks and information sessions that's going on. Stay on, network, and get to know each other.
Thank you. Lunch is at the bar counter. Feel free to sit anywhere to have it. Coffee and tea is also available there.
Do you serve wine as well?
7 p.m.
Oh, 7 p.m. Stay on for the wine. Yeah.
Find a way to repay you.
Please. What?
Extra pair of hands, or whatever it is.
I just sit around. Very, very good. That's a just, I think it's very good. I always try to break the ice. Just quickly break it up. So all the feel a part of the conversation. The part of the show. Sometimes when I want it, I do this crazy organizer,
Yes, I think in plan going in there.
Yeah.